just when companies are thinking about their AI strategy and thinking about scaling AI and thinking about how they can get the best answers to their users, be very careful when considering a do-it-yourself RAG solution versus purchasing a vendor. Some companies out there have very good built-out teams that can handle RAG, and that's great for them. But there's a certain maintenance burden that comes with operating a RAG solution, and so you want to make sure be very prescribed in how you're building these solutions. And if RAG is for you, that's great and all well and good. If you have the team that can support it, just be careful with that, and also take a look at RAG as a service vendors and understand the costs associated with them and how they compare with a DIY solution RAG. Some companies will want a DIY solution. They will be able to handle that. They will have the team that can manage that over time as the AI grows. But the better play may be RAG as a service, and that's an option for companies out there to do that as well.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Don't Panic, It's Just Data, the podcast where we make sense of what's happening in modern data and AI without the hype or the panic. My name is Kevin Petrie. I'm VP of Research at Bark, and I'm your host for this episode. Today, joining me once again is Michael, and we also have Eudald Camprubí, who is co-founder of Nuclea, which was recently acquired by Progress, and he's also a software fellow now at Progress. What are you seeing from your customers when it comes to token costs? And why has that become such a boardroom conversation?
If you pay attention to what LLMs are doing, the LLM providers, what they are doing is they are increasing the context window that you can send to the model. Context window, for the ones of you that might not be aware about the concept, is the amount of tokens that you can send to the LLM to provide an answer. And for some time, it was a kind of a misunderstanding from also part of our customers, which is, let me send as much context as I can to the LLM because the context window is so big that I'm going to send all the information, even if it's not relevant, so the LLM will analyze and automatically will summarize my data and provide an answer. And that was very good because, it was impressive while the tokens, the price of the tokens was acceptable. But now that we are, as Michael said, that the LLMs are starting to charge really what the token price is, we start seeing organizations thinking in a more meaningful way about the context that they are sending to the model. And now what we are seeing is the other trend, which is how me as an organization, I can make sure that I only send the right context to the LLM. So I do not want to use the context window. I just want to reduce at max the context I'm sending to the LLM to reduce the token consumption. And this opens a lot of conversations, very interesting ones, like how you can generate a good quality context, how you can apply the best retrieval strategy to reduce that context, how agents can use the context in a meaningful way to do what they have to do without spending thousands of dollars.
It's super interesting. We talk to a lot of different companies about AI. Specifically what we're doing with our no-code interface, we happen to run across a lot of different line of business users. So folks in marketing, legal, people who haven't really touched AI before. And so when they're thinking about token costs, they have no idea of what is appropriate, spend, how to configure it, how to set up repeatable patterns. And coming from a data analytics background, it's really interesting to me because we went through that with Snowflake all those years ago and understanding how those repeatable patterns of usage is. So it's kind of like porting that over to be more broadly applicable. But it's interesting how customers are trying to get an idea of what token costs will be as they approach these new use cases, and they're becoming more and more concerned with it. You see token costs skyrocketing across the industry. We saw a couple weeks ago, there was a company that came out. I think they figured out that they spent $500 million on AI on tokens, and they didn't even have appropriate cost controls involved. So it's It's an interesting time. We're moving from companies moving from really experimenting with AI and doing these small bite-sized use cases to scaling it across their business. And in doing that, they're really focusing on what those costs will be and understanding what that repeatable pattern would be and where they can save on the margins. Do they need a particular model do they need the top model for every use case? Can they use a lower model for a specific use case? Can they use a small language model to help offset those costs? So it's an interesting time where our customers are really trying to get a handle on their token usage and really trying to understand what the value they're getting from that AI is.
So context is dominating AI conversations, as we know. What is it, and how does it compare with a semantic layer, and why does that matter? Part of this is a question of terminology and semantics, if you will. I personally think a semantic layer is part of the discipline of context engineering, but we are talking about different elements from a technical perspective, and so I'd love to hear how you and Progress Software define this.
To understand how we give the right context to the model when it comes, for example, when you want to put in place a retrieval, a RAG system in your organization, there is a previous step, which is how you can take your data and index the data in a way that, besides extracting and index all the data, you can build a vector index, so a semantic layer, a semantic index. So when a user asks a question, you are able to identify the right parts of the information using knowledge graph, using semantics, using keyword-based search, also a keyword-based search engine index. So the thing is, there is one step, which is indexing the data and generating the also the semantic layer that you are describing. And there is then a next step, which is how you can understand the user intent. So how you can make sure that you understand what the user wants and go to the database and retrieve, based on semantics, based on knowledge graph, based on keyword-based search, how you can retrieve only what is relevant to answer the question. Because what you retrieve is basically the context. And the context is the information you send to the LLM to provide the answer. So being able to be very efficient on how you index the data and being able to very efficiently retrieve what is relevant from the data, from semantics to knowledge graph, it's also very important to get a good context and the right context. Because there is no good AI without the right context. So if you don't send the right context to the LLM, it will start to hallucinate, it will generate frustration, and it will generate basically a bad experience. So the context generation is a super key element in any RAG pipeline and in any AI workflow at the end of the day.
I'd love to hear, among other, one specifically organizationally, if we look at how different individuals need to collaborate to provide the inspection and the control that Eudald is talking about. I can picture that we've got, from a FinOps perspective, the discipline of FinOps is very much evolving to not just focus on compute costs, but also on AI token costs. One of the big areas of emphasis for FinOps is how do these different stakeholders work together? You've got folks that worry a lot about cost, and then you've got data scientists or others that that's not really part of their MBOs. What stakeholders are collaborating in here, and how do they do that?
Yeah, I mean, we see FinOps increasingly playing a role in looking over this stuff. This stuff is evolving so quickly, and like just recently, we started to see FinOps playing a deeper role. But it's a lot of data science teams, a lot of AI ML teams at organization. MLOps teams are also taking on that role. So we're seeing those personas play a role in what's going on here. It is interesting, though, in some research that Eudald and his team have done around LLMs is on our platform. I think we have right now 40 different LLMs available, and the range in cost is like from 24x. The smallest, the least expensive one, or the most expensive one, is 24x the cost of the least expensive one on our platform. That's like a huge cost discrepancy. And so it really depends upon what your use case is and how much you want to spend on that particular use case. So we try to provide you with the maximum amount of tools in which you can judge the quality, judge the cost, and judge the performance of any experience that you're running on there. So it's been super interesting too to see the companies come out with new models. Anthropic comes out with a new model seemingly every week now. It's insane how quickly these models are coming out. But providing also that layer in which you can compare those two LLMs is also interesting. So I don't think there's a lot of services out there where you can actually go and look at an answer and see the quality and the cost compared. Because with the Progress Agentic RAG solution, Eudald and his team have intuited over the course of many years the need for this universal translation or universal currency layer on top of a RAG. So we provide one token cost, and then you can kind of swap out your LLM on the fly just by clicking a button. And that is incredibly important for companies to understand spend. We have done a really good job with Progress of dog fooding our own solution, more so than I've seen at many different organizations that I've been at. And so we have AI now on progress.com that's powered by Agentic RAG. We have AI in some documentation as well. Within one of our documentation use cases, there's two different LLMs. One LLM provides you with a detailed response and an answer, because that is a more complex question and needs more power behind the LLM. And then there's a list of links underneath it that is also powered by Agentic RAG, but a less cost AI LLM. And so just having the ability to tailor that, it's going to be, again, it's something that's increasing in need and increasing in, we're increasingly seeing it from a number of different organizations.
Sure. My advice to anyone, especially organizations willing to start using AI tools, is that decide for a tool that it provides you full observability, so you really understand everything related to the platform, that it's modular. Modularity, we didn't have time to talk about modularity here, but it's a must-have for any platform in which you want to build AI experiences on top. If the platform you are testing does not provide modularity, it will get old very soon. And the other one is that not always the latest model is the best one. And please, please, please don't trust everything you read in LinkedIn, because it's not always true. So that would be my advice to everyone. And obviously very happy to have a conversation if someone have a question, but that would be my set of advices here.